afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first unit of competency in your search to in sport and recreation. Okay, so my name is Tanya Coulson, so I'll be your trainer for this next couple of units of competency. The first unit of competency that we're going to be doing is looking at maintaining sport, fitness and recreation knowledge of the industry. Okay, so it's making sure that you're up to date with what happens in the industry, what the industry is about, and where we go from there. Okay? Alright, so first thing we're going to do is a bit of a check-in, and see where you guys are at in terms of sport and rec in your community. So I want you just to tell me some of the links that you have to sport and recreation in your community. So whether it's something that you work in, you might play sport, something along those lines. Okay, so Lucas, we'll start with you.
I play Wednesday night touch.
Yep, anything else?
I play A-grade rugby league as well.
So more as a participant rather than an employee?
Yeah.
Yep, good. Justin?
Participate in A-grade rugby.
Yep, Ben?
Assist out of those leagues.
Okay, good. Yep, another role there. Volunteer sort of role?
Yes.
Yep, good. Zoe?
I coach tennis.
Alright, good. Is that paid coaching or just for fun?
Paid.
Paid? Okay, good. So you're already seeking some employment through sport and rec, right? Okay, so just to get you guys thinking a little bit, what I want you to do is I'm going to give you 2 minutes. And I want you to write down as many 4-letter words as you can with those combinations of letters up there. You can't repeat a letter, so we can't have anything that has a double in it, because there's obviously only one in each one. Okay? So you've got 2 minutes.
The repeating letters?
What do you mean?
The repeating letters?
No, you can't repeat a letter. Okay, so there's only one S on the board, your word can only have one S in it. Happy to have plurals. Okay, so you might have mats. That's fine. Okay, so you've got about 30 seconds left to go. Alrighty, that's time there. What's your count? How many words you had? Lou?
I got 6.
6. Dustin?
9.
9. Ben?
7.
7. Zoe? 9. Alright, Dustin, you want to read out your ones?
Same, hats, cane, mats, meat, seat, tape, spat, and cane.
Excellent, very good. Zoe, do you have anything different? Pretty much the same? Alright, so that's just a little activity we are starting to start thinking about what's going on. Alright, so moving forward, what I've got from the board is a learning intent and a success criteria. You don't need to write this down, but this is just what we're aiming to get out of this little session that we're doing today. So hopefully we can have an understanding of the sport and recreation industry, so what that is all about. Success criteria, so things that you should have a knowledge of by the time we finish today's lesson, are going to be what it encompasses, the economic benefits of it, and potential career pathways as well. Okay, so they're the areas that we're going to be looking at over the next 30 minutes or so. At the end of the lesson, we'll have an exit ticket. Okay, this will be a little bit of formative assessment. You'll need to answer or write a brief summary explaining each one of those little success criteria dot points. Yeah? Happy with that? Got an understanding of where we're heading for? Yep, good. Okay, something else just to have a bit of a look at and listen to is this little symbol at the top. There's 4 different little symbols to give you a bit of an idea of what we want you to do with the information that's on the board. Okay? So this one is pencil and pen, ear. So obviously listening to it, and then generally would get you to write it down. I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. If you see one that is just ears, we're just listening and having a conversation. If you see one that is multiple people, we're going to do some group work. And if you see one that is just one person by yourself, you're obviously doing some independent work. Does that make sense? Hopefully that should give you some clarity on what we need to do, particularly if I'm not working with somebody else. Yep, cool. Okay, so writing this a little bit down, okay, because again, you need to be able to tell us what sport and rec industry is. Okay, it's a diverse and economically significant sector that includes things like organisations, activities, facilities and people involved in the promotion, sport and delivery of sport and physical activity or recreation across the country. Okay, so it plays a major role in health, social life and the economy of Australia. So it's not just about running and jumping and going out and having a good time. Okay, there are some very significant benefits that this industry brings to our country. Okay, today's focus obviously is going to be the economic benefits. In future sessions, we're going to look at health and social life as well. Alright, so we're all good with that? We've all got it written down? Yep. Does anyone have any questions about what we think is involved in the sport and rec industry?
What organisations are they talking about?
Organisations, so it might be sporting organisations, clubs, facility groups, that sort of thing. Alright, are we good to go? Lou? Yep, awesome. Okay, so we're going to have a look at what it encompasses, okay? So you do need to, when we get to the end of it, just write down professional and community sports. Then I want you to write down some examples, okay? So you don't necessarily need to write these down, but just some examples. So what I want you to think of is some examples of elite or professional sports, okay? Community sports or clubs that you might be aware of in your community, and state and national sporting organisations. So, very quickly, a couple of minutes, write down some examples for each one of those. Ben?
Does school-related sports count?
It can do, yeah, sure. Because it can be part of the community. Alright, Zoe, can you give me an example of elite or professional sports that you might be aware of? Haven't done it yet?
Big one.
Tennis would be? What sort of tennis, Ben?
Okay.
Pardon? Professional. So what's an example of a professional tennis competition that's held in Australia each year? Yeah, okay, so the Australian Open, that might be one of them. Alright, Dustin, can you give us an example of community sports and clubs that you might be aware of?
Like local rugby league clubs.
Yeah, local rugby league clubs. Any other examples from our community?
Touch. Would you do like walking talk or something?
Yeah, potentially. If there's something that's happening on a regular basis, most definitely. Okay, Lucas, state and national sporting organisations.
Did you do like North Burnett Rugby League?
Yeah, North Burnett Rugby League. What would be the next level up?
Wide Bay.
Wide Bay, then we would go
I don't know.
Queensland,
Yeah.
NRL, and then Australia. Yep, so they all link together. Very good. Okay, so you can see that they all have their own role within sport and recreation. Okay, next one, recreational activities. So thinking of things like outdoor activities, what might happen in our community, fitness and gym culture, and adventure and leisure. So see if you can come up with some examples in our community for each one of those.
Parkrun?
Yes, which category would it fit in though, Ben?
Outdoor activity.
Potentially, yeah.
It would also fit under fitness.
It could fit under fitness as well. So some things do double up and go into a couple of different categories. So that's good. Well done. All right, so we can use parkrun as potentially our outdoor activities. Do we have anything else?
That one fitness.
Yep. Do we have anything for outdoor though? Anyone? No? Okay. Fitness? Justin?
Another does like a yoga afternoon like session on Tuesday.
Okay. What does that run at?
Not too sure my mum goes.
Yeah.
Whenever she goes.
That's okay.
to yoga.
Yeah. Cool. What about anything else for fitness and gym? Is there a gym in our local community? Yeah, Lucas, do you know what it's called? It is actually called Racer Bar as a business, but yes, so that's a gym that is open to anyone to go and join up and sign up for. What about outdoor and leisure activities? Hiking? Yeah, where might they go hiking particularly? Something. Pardon?
Mountains.
Yeah, mountains. What do we have around our community that's sort of only been open in the last probably 12 to 18 months? Yeah, the rail trail. Okay, so that's all about people getting out and accessing those sort of activities as well. Alright, jolly good. Let's move on. Okay, sports services and supports. Okay, so we've got coaches, officiating, sports medicine and physiotherapy, event management and sports marketing, and facility management, stadiums, leisure centres and sport fields. Can you think of any of those that we actually have within our community? We have a physio. We definitely have a physiotherapist. Okay, we have one that works privately. They have a shop front in the main street. I'm pretty sure there probably would be one through community health as well.
Are we like naming the people?
Not necessarily people, but where we would find what sort of roles these people might have in our community or be involved in, what groups might they be involved in. So boys, you spoke about being involved in rugby league. What do they have?
Coaches.
Yep.
FAOs.
FAOs, league safe, all of those sort of things. Then you talked about Little Athletics. What do they have at Little Athletics? Yeah, what else? So would fit into here.
Coaches.
Yep, definitely. Is there courses that people can go and do so they can do those jobs?
Depending on the job, like if it's teaching someone shot put or something, you have to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just like helping time or something, you don't actually have to have too much knowledge, you just need to know how to.
Yeah, exactly. So some of the roles have some quite stringent guidelines where you have to go out and get coaching certificates and qualifications, and that's another part of sport rec. Whereas some of them is more about those volunteer sort of places. Okay, so we've touched on physio. What about event management and sports marketing? What do you think those sort of people are doing, and who might they work for?
Selling products.
Yeah, selling products. What's the product that they're going to be trying to sell?
Yes,
The sport, merchandise potentially, that sort of stuff. So when we've had events in town, Citrus Cup, that sort of stuff, is there a little bit of management that has to go on behind the scenes of that? Yeah, what sort of things do they have to manage? Ground control. Yeah, what else?
They manage the advertising.
Yeah, managing advertising.
Food supply.
Food, booking the venue, all of those sort of things. In our community, is this person likely to be paid or a volunteer? Yeah, so it's probably going to fall on the committee members, okay? if I was someone working for the Brisbane Broncos in this sort of role, would that be a paid or would that be a volunteer position? Yeah, it would be a paid. So there's a lot of crossover in sport and rec industry of paid and volunteer work to make sure that activities can run. All right. What about facility management? Stadiums, leisure centres, sport fields. What facilities do we have in our local communities that are managed by somebody?
Sports field.
Yeah, who's it managed by?
Volunteers.
Partially volunteers, doing line marking and that sort of stuff. What about sort of more the maintenance side of it? Yeah, the council does it as well. So they have those facilities and they manage them. Excellent, very good. Okay, so another look. We can look at infrastructure and facilities. So we've got local council, national stadiums and recreational places. So we've very briefly touched on local councils and what they manage. What were we talking about just then? Zoe, that the council managed? Yeah, so the sports fields. What might be some national stadiums that might be managed? Suncorp. Any other ones we know of? Yeah, the Core Stadium in Sydney. Yep. Seabus, that sort of stuff on the Gold Coast, all of those sort of things. What are we talking about for recreational?
Full fun.
Come in.
Full fun.
I still missed that, sorry.
Full fun.
I still couldn't understand.
Yes, full fun.
Oh, for fun, right, yeah. But in terms of like infrastructural facilities, what might we have locally? Parks, yep. What do we have near the river? River Walk. What do we have the other side of the weir? Picnic area, and what else? There's a boat ramp. They're all maintained by the council, but they're all there so people can participate in sport and recreation. Okay? Very good. Alright, let's continue on. Okay, so according to Sport Australia, okay, the sport and rec industry contributes $14 billion to the Australian financial situation every year. Okay, so that's a lot of money going into a lot of various different businesses. Okay, it employs over 220,000 people in that industry. So again, a lot of people are dependent on working in that industry for them to be financially secure. Okay, so we've got one person in the room who's already doing that on a part-time basis. Okay, so it can be part-time up to anything really big. All right. So these ones, so sport, we can say has a direct impact on our economy. So what do you think that direct impact might be?
What's the money going to or towards?
Yeah, so it's going directly from an activity that we've done from sport and rec. Okay, going to a sporting venue, watching a game. Okay, signing up to play in different sports. Okay, all of those money go back into the economy of Australia. So we call that direct benefit. Okay, we can also have what we call indirect benefits, and they're benefits that flow on or come indirectly from being part of the sport and rec industry. Okay, so we can have tourism, retail, hospitality, and health sectors. How do you think those four sectors can benefit indirectly from sport and rec?
Tourism, hotels, hospitality, food venues.
Yep, so what's happening for me as a person to link into tourism, sport and rec, hospitality?
Place to stay if you're going to go watch a game.
Yeah, so if I'm going to go watch a game, I might have to go and stay somewhere. So that's our accommodation, that's our food, that's our travel, all of those sort of things. What about retail? Any ideas? No, hospitality is probably more food.
Is that more so like buying merchandise?
Yeah, definitely merchandise, okay? I want to support my team, I go out and buy the jersey, I go and buy a hat, whatever it might be, okay? So that's a retail industry. Generally, where am I buying that stuff from?
From sports shops.
Sports shops, potentially the clubs, all of that sort of stuff. So it's money coming back into them. It's not directly me being outside and being physically active, but me wanting to be part of that through the site, okay? Hospitality, we've talked about sort of food, that sort of stuff. What about the health sector? How how is that going to indirectly benefit from people being involved in the sport and rec industry?
The people like to get sick.
Yeah, less people are likely to get sick, which means what?
Making sure all facilities like toilets and that are all clean.
Yeah, but if I don't get sick as much, what happens? What do I do less often?
Medicare doesn't have to pay so much on health stuff.
Yeah, Medicare doesn't have to pay so much. I'm not going to the doctor as often. I'm not going to the hospital as often. So they're not having to spend as much money looking after me. Okay? Alright, what I would like you guys to do is choose 2 of those indirect benefits listed above and write me an explanation of how the sport and rec industry has an indirect benefit into yours. So you can pick any 2 of those 4: tourism, retail, hospitality, and health.
What did we say tourism was again? Was it where we just stand?
Yeah, so if you're going to go and watch an NRL game or something like that, particularly from us coming from a rural community, we're not going to be able to do it in one day. So we're going to have to go and stay somewhere. Which also then leads on, we're here anyway, we're going to go and do this, or be shopping or whatever. Okay?
What would we call people?
In what context, Ben?
Like fans or watchers or.
Well, fans would be one, spectators could be another word. Yeah. You right, Zoe? Do you need some help? Do you need some help though, Zoe? No? You good? Okay. Which ones did you pick, Lucas?
Retail and hospitality.
Okay, good. Dustin, which ones did you pick? Yep. And?
Tourism.
Okay, Zoe? Which ones did you pick? Pardon? Okay, we'll just read out. So you've got pictures in there. What's the other one that you're going to talk about? Okay, cool. Alright, another couple of minutes, then we'll be done. You don't have to write a big amount, just a sentence or so. Just giving us an explanation of how those industries indirectly are affected by sport rec.
Was hospitality like
Is what you
which one is that?
So we're looking mostly like food and that sort of stuff. Yeah. Because really you can very closely link tourism, retail and hospitality all together.
Yeah.
But let's look at hospitality in terms of food. Done, Ben?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So you good? Yep. Alright, boys, you done? Yep. Alright. Ben, tell us about one of the ones that you chose.
I can't talk about both of them, so.
Okay.
Tourism is an indirect benefit from sports. Starting it. Tourism is an indirect benefit from Sports Australia through spectators and participants travelling to and from a place to watch a game. In that instance, petrol stations and service are benefited. Hospitality industry is also in the same boat because people are.
Yeah, excellent, very good. All right, let's move on to the next little section. This one is about looking at potential careers in the sport and rec industry. Okay, so to start with, you just need to listen. Then there's a question that I want you to identify what we've come up with within our community. So we're going professionals and support roles. So we're looking at things like athletes, coaches, sports officials, exercise scientists and physiotherapists, and sports psychologists. So these are all people who are being paid to be part of the sport and rec industry. Okay? So professional athletes, professional coaches, professional umpires, sports referees, although sometimes we have people at a local level that get paid to referee. Okay? These are the support people for recovery and again mental pressures as well, managing those. So have a think about it. Can you identify any of those careers that might be available or you know that people work with within our local community? Yeah.
Referees and umpires.
Yep. So in what particular sport?
Like rugby league.
Yeah. Is that going to be enough of a career or money-wise for them that to be the sole thing that they do? No, not really. So it's something that they might do on the side as a bit of extra. Is there anything on that list there that would be someone's sole career within our community?
Practice or if they go to school.
Yep. So like I said earlier, we have a physiotherapist who is in town, and that's her business. Okay, very good.
What would be the difference between sports psychologist and a psychologist?
So a sports psychologist will generally deal with pressures that athletes are feeling around their performance. Okay, whereas a psychologist just in general might deal with other mental health issues as well. Okay, they're probably only dealing with athletes in their role, not just anyone off the street. Okay. Alright, so management and admin, sports administration, event coordinator, marketing and media officer and facility manager. Do you think we have any of those professions in our local community? Yeah, which ones?
Media officer. Like just someone taking pictures and putting them on Facebook like that.
Yeah, but at obviously much higher level, so someone who's being paid to do it. Yeah. Justin?
Like sporting in Australia, like in the National League, is that?
Yeah, potentially. Are they going to have paid work, do you think? Probably more so volunteer. Yeah, very good. Okay. Yeah, potentially, if they get paid. Yeah. This is probably within our region. We have what we call a sport and rec officer that works through the council, and they would probably do a lot of the management of those roles joined into one job because we're just not big enough to have those individual jobs pathways. Okay. All right. Oops. That's not what we want. Recreational community roles. So recreation officer, outdoor guide, PE teacher and sports educator. Do we have any of those roles within our community? Yeah, which ones? Yeah, where do you find those?
Schools.
At schools. Excellent, very good. Any of the other ones that we have?
Like you said, the recreation.
Yeah, outdoor guys.
Pardon, Justin?
Like you said, the recreation officer.
Yeah, and so again, recreation officer would probably fit into here as well. Ben, what were you saying?
Do we have an outdoor guy?
I don't know, that's what I was asking you. We don't have all of these.
I know this one in Vegas to take people up the mountain.
Yeah, again, we're thinking paid work. Okay? So again, a lot of stuff in sport and rec is volunteer basis because people want things to happen in their community. Not a lot of it is paid work. Okay? Alright, exit ticket now please. What I want you to do is open up a little Word document. Okay, I want you to type in an answer for all of those 3 questions. Okay, and once you have finished that, I want you to email that to me. So my email address is, I'll just write it up onto the board. so as I said, this is part of your formative assessment, so this is just a way of me checking that you're understanding the concepts and the topics that we're talking about before we move into the actual assessment pieces that you have to do for this unit of competency. Alright, excellent. Thank you very much, guys. Before we finish up, is there anyone who has any questions about the topics that we've spoken of today? No? Make sure you get those extra tickets sent to me. Our next session, as I said earlier, will be on social and health impacts of the sport and rec industry. Alright, awesome. Thanks very much for today. See you later.